Okay, welcome to my final presentation project for computer science. Today I'll be talking about what is the significance of the coding language named TypeScript in the coding world. So let's start. Next slide. So why is TypeScript important? It's very important because it's a new language that is more modern and it gets updated more frequently. So there's new functions and new algorithms that can be implemented into more diverse code, and it's just helpful for people in computer science or developers like game developers or just coders in general to learn because it's just another language to have in their back pocket so that they are more diverse in what they're able to code in. It does say that it gives coders another option of what language they would like to write in code, which again just makes it more diverse. If you're able to code in multiple different languages rather than one, you will probably be more likely to get hired from different organizations and for different roles. So why would I like to talk about TypeScript? Well, as I mentioned before, it's another language for people to learn, for me to learn in the future. Diversify your background. It helps you learn other languages. So if you learn TypeScript, you're pretty much learning JavaScript, and there's also other functions and other things that help you on your coding journey in general that you can learn with TypeScript. Okay, and then again, what is TypeScript? The easiest way to put it is TypeScript is a um, super class for JavaScript. So it's more or less the same, follows the same rules, has a lot of the same syntax. However, it is updated constantly, so there are certain functions and additional tools, like it helps finish out code as you're writing in certain programs. It'll be able to help you catch errors and show you where that error is and things like that. So there's similarities and differences between TypeScript and not only Java but even Python, and you'll be able to see that as you continue to work and learn with it. What advancements has it brought? So just reading this first sentence here, it has now become a go-to choice for building applications, any kind of web designing. A lot of cloud services use it, like Amazon Web Services, Cloudflare workers, and then it's just one of the best languages to learn when you're having troubles with syntax errors or any kind of coding errors. It's really good at being user friendly, and any users that are coding in this language are able to fix any errors pretty quickly and pretty easily. So it's not too much of a hassle. And then it is backed by Microsoft, so as I mentioned before, it does get updated quite frequently because Microsoft is supporting it. Okay, the first article we're going to be looking at is this article by Altexsoft uh, titled The Good and the Bad of TypeScript. Okay, let me try and catch my breath. Okay, the blog post explains what TypeScript is and why developers should consider using it. TypeScript is a statically typed superset of JavaScript, so as I mentioned before. Um, and then it highlights a lot of like the growing adaptions and adoptions that it implements into the community of developers. It shows integration with modern web development tools and frameworks. So again, it's great for web development. Again, TS gives feedback as you write, which makes it user friendly. So it's able to flag any errors and show any type related errors as soon as they occur. So right away, you'll be able to know what you're doing wrong. That way, you don't write out a full like page of code and then you try and run it and it just says, oh, there's an error. Now you got to look for that error. Sometimes it can just be a bit of a hassle. So that's one thing that makes it very user friendly. In this blog, they emphasize how it's growing in popularity. It wasn't always big because, again, it's not completely new. It's relatively new within the last 5 to 6 years. But it is coming from JavaScript, which makes it easier for people to learn, which is something the blog mentions. And then it also has declared variables, the same, that make code predictable. So you're able to follow like a common framework as you're working, and nothing is going to jump out at you and you might be confused on why something happened as you're coding. Okay, What's the relation? It is mentioned that TypeScript is simple for users to learn since many coders already know JavaScript. The blog says TS users have reached 11.4 million users. And mind you, this article was written, I can't go back, um, but within the last 5 years. So that number has definitely grown by now. But all platforms that use JavaScript are very likely to be compatible with TypeScript because, again, it is a super class, superset of JavaScript. So it's more or less the same thing. It's just better in a sense. Okay, let me really try and pause and take a deep breath. Okay, so the next article is Introduction to TypeScript by this website I found that kind of teaches code. So I just clicked around on this website trying to learn some rules and algorithms and syntax for TypeScript. So what I learned was, again, this was a website that offered lessons about code. It showed me different syntax examples, excuse me, and I was able to see similarities between Java, of course, and even Python. But when it comes to declaring variables, that's very much the same. You have to declare variables, ending lines of code with semicolons, just little minor things like that stay the same. And then it also did teach that there are three main primitives. So in Java, there's the Boolean, like true or false statements, numbers, the ints, and then strings, like anything you want to type out. So same follows with TypeScript. That's what it teaches you. And then it says variables and function arguments in JavaScript are informationless. Developers must therefore consult the documentation or make educated guesses based on the implementation. So pretty much saying you have to give information to any variable that you declare. So you can't just make a variable and when you run the program, it's already going to know what you meant by that. Like you have to give it a value pretty much by saying, well, like int, and then the name of that int, and then saying what number it is. That's part of the code. Um, it's important to know when a string is passed into a function that expects a number, for instance, TypeScript will raise an error. So if you do try and just make an int without giving it a declared value, it'll say that's an error. JavaScript won't do that until you run the code. Then it'll mention there is an error. Some programs, whatever you're coding on, they might mention where that error is, but a lot of times it's not as easy to do so as it would be in TypeScript. And then why does it relate? Well, simply put, the syntax error recognition that TS comes with is just way better, makes it very much easier for coders to code, and it's super easy to learn because it comes straight from JavaScript, which many beginning coders learn first. It's one of like the more popular languages, so it's very easy to transfer from JavaScript to TypeScript. And then again, that thing with syntax, because me personally, in my past, I've had a lot of projects where I've had basic syntax errors, and it took unreasonably long amounts of time to figure out where that issue was and how to solve it. So had I have known of something like TypeScript, maybe I would have been able to complete those projects quicker, knowing that information and having some type of software help me out like that. Okay. TypeScript versus Python syntax, performance, and ecosystem. So this will be comparing TS versus Python, and you'll see, well, I should say I was able to see some of the similarities and differences when reading this article. So Lay Chance, the person who wrote on this blog post, he's highlighting a lot of the similarities and differences. He says himself, both have their strengths and are used in various domains, but they cater to different niches in the software development realm. So Python is used for one category of things, and then TS is used for another category of things. TS is just like JavaScript, even C++, in the sense that all of them are object or usually meant for object-oriented coding. So that's why it's, again, I said this before, it's great for web development, but could also be useful in game development, like developing games. things like that. It is efficient on a V8 engine, though its compilation step may slightly slow down development. Python, on the other hand, has slower raw execution speed, but can achieve performance improvements with tools like Python, PyPy, or native extensions. So those are just kind of extra coding information that I was not aware of. So I learned something new through that. And then TypeScript benefits from JavaScript's extensive npm ecosystems like and tools like tslint and the TypeScript compiler. So these are just kind of sources you can use to actually run your code. Um, and then it says like these resources are high code quality. It is well supported by editors like VS Code, offering excellent integration. Python, known for its robust standard library, relies on uh, PyPy, I think is how you pronounce it, for a wide range of libraries and uses tools like pipe and virtual, I don't know how to pronounce that, but for package and environment management. So basically, what this is saying is there is libraries that are used, and libraries kind of just hold code that other people have commonly used. So here is just saying that TS has libraries that you're able to look into if you are having trouble with some sort of code that you need to write out. That there's a lot of libraries that include code that you could just easily grab and implement that into your own code. Whereas Python does have the same thing, but it's just a little bit different. So that's what Lay Chance was mentioning here, that they both do have that option if you ever get stuck and you need a resource to refer to. Relation TypeScript's adoption is rapidly increasing, particularly in web development, with strong integration into frameworks like Angular and active support from Microsoft, including good documentation and regular updates. Python boasts one of the largest and most diverse communities due to its versatility across fields like web development and scientific computing. Its active community is further highlighted by the annual Python Software Foundation Conference, which attracts global developers. So again, what he's saying is both of these coding languages have their own community where people support each other. It's kind of like when you're working on a project, or for those people who play video games, when you join maybe like a Discord and everyone's kind of talking about, oh, how do you complete this level? Same thing for both Python and TS. There's just communities of people that are willing to help others with certain codes, certain algorithms, and just understanding the overall language itself. So both of those have those in common, which was a lot of what Lay Chance was highlighting. And that's important to why people should learn TypeScript, which is my topic, because it's going to be very helpful as more and more people learn it and the community just continues to grow and grow. You're going to want to be more adept in many different kinds of languages, so TypeScript will be very helpful to learn. Okay, now I found this very interesting. So, 10 startups using TypeScript. We've talked a lot about what is TypeScript, why you should learn it, and kind of comparing some similarities and differences to other code. So, now let's look at what websites or what games or what has been written using TypeScript. Okay, so like I said, uh, this article talked a lot about the companies that use TypeScript. The first part of the summary is just talking about what is TypeScript. Later on, it does mention the libraries again, the communities, the developers that help others create um, more projects, and then it does say for developers considering learning TypeScript, the article provides inspiration by showcasing its features and practical applications in modern startups. So again, it does mention the syntax error fixes, but getting into what those 10 startups are, there's Slack. Slack is I don't know if it would be considered social media, but it's kind of like social media. You're able to communicate with peers, have kind of like group chats. I guess it's more like Discord, if you know what Discord is. There's Kavik, DoorDash, Typeform, Canva. Canva is like it's like a website to build one pages. but it's an online website. They do have an app as well. Um, I don't know. Like you can make flyers and things like that electronically on Canva. So all those 10 startups are listed there. And then the second part, I just talk more about how these apps and websites work. So I say Slack leads as a popular business communication platform. I've used it in the past for my internship with Medtronic. They use Slack a lot just to kind of have like a easygoing, free flowing communication. It aside from Teams, or Teams is more focused. We did use Teams as well, but enough about that. So yeah, it's a great popular business communication platform offering versatile features like channels and asynchronous work. Kayak is a leading Latin American automotive e commerce platform specializing in the purchase, reconditioning, and resale of cars, kind of like America's eBay. Canva stands out as a widely used graphic design platform with templates for posters, videos, and presentations. And then, we can just go on. DoorDash dominates the food delivery. We know about that. But all these companies showcase the versatility and power of TypeScript in diverse industries. So this was very important for me because it's mentioning that TypeScript isn't just for web development or just for object oriented like video game programming. It can be used for a variety of things. Like we see DoorDash, comparing DoorDash and Canva, those are not really anything alike. One of them has to do with food and delivery, and then another one is just graphic design. So it just shows how versatile TypeScript is. And I really found this article interesting, showing all these companies, and these are all very popular companies as well. So that just shows, again, this would be a great reason why people who are computer scientists or coders in general should learn TypeScript, because as these companies grow and they need more and more people to work on their web development, their apps, it would be very beneficial for people to learn how to code in TypeScript because it's only going to grow more and more. And that's kind of what I'm mentioning here. How does it relate? It's ideal for building large web applications and accelerating development. And then it's backed by a strong community. There are very. Okay, sorry about that momentary interruption. As I was saying, it's very great for web applications, accelerated development, has a strong community behind it that helps support all the features and help everyone learn and understand what TS is about and how it works. And it just continues to grow for future uses. Okay, and this should be our final article. This article is What is TypeScript and why should you use it? And we've basically been talking about that throughout the last couple of slides. But this one explains again what is TypeScript, and that being a superset of JavaScript. It does say it's sorry. Okay. This article talks a lot about a lot of the problems or limitations that JavaScript has itself originally as it was made, and how TypeScript fixes that. So I mentioned in my summary, JavaScript is used in complex front end and back end applications, expose its limitations, such as being too forgiving and lacking features found in other languages. And then the article talked about TypeScript was created to address these issues while staying compatible with JavaScript. So just being more or less a better version of JavaScript. It is a statically typed superset of JavaScript, allowing issues while staying allowing developers to write more robust and error-free code while maintaining JavaScript syntax and functionality. So again, as I've been mentioning, TypeScript is just meant to be a better version of JavaScript. It's very, very, very similar, same syntax, same rules, a lot of the same algorithms, a lot of the same functions, but it just helps so much more when it comes to fixing syntax errors, and the functionality overall is just better, which is again why people should learn it, because as this progresses, like I've mentioned before, Microsoft is backing it, meaning it updates very, very frequently. A lot of companies see the worth in it, and they see how user friendly it is. So it just makes a lot of sense for you to go out of your way to learn TypeScript. And then the article also talked about TypeScript code must be compiled into JavaScript to run in browsers or environments like Node.js, as browsers cannot execute TypeScript directly. So, as I said, definitely learn TypeScript, but it's not going to be very difficult to learn JavaScript if you learn TypeScript first, or vice versa if you learn JavaScript, because they're very much the same. But as this code grows, more and more companies and more programs that are able to run it are going to be able to do so without JavaScript as it progresses in the future. Um, and then I mentioned, while the additional compilation step might seem complex, it enables TypeScript to integrate seamlessly into existing JavaScript. Now, this is very important because for those games or those websites that are already written with code in JavaScript, you can easily go back into it and upgrade them or update them with TypeScript, because I can't stress this enough, but it is basically the same thing. JavaScript and TypeScript is just working in TypeScript is very easier because you're able to see what you're doing wrong, and it'll help you out as you write. It's kind of like going into your Word document for an assignment and using Grammarly for any classes that allow that. But when you use Grammarly, Grammarly is able to tell you what you're doing wrong and give you advice on what words you should use, if you should include a comma, just things like that. So it just makes, yeah, just like Grammarly, it makes writing so much easier. The workflow ensures developers can build modern applications with fewer errors and greater scalability. And then again, there's a huge library. A lot of developers are into it. In contrast, it is a full-fledged framework built with TypeScript, offering tools, and this is talking about Angular, a program that runs TypeScript, offering tools for not just user interfaces but complete application architecture. Angular's structured approach can accelerate development if the project aligns with its design. Both React and Angular support TypeScript apps for platforms like Ionic and Electron, enabling developers to build mobile apps for iOS and Android, or desktop apps for Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. These tools provide flexibility for developers to create robust cross-platform applications. So this was something I read in the article itself, and this is pretty much just saying where all of this TypeScript code, all of this TypeScript knowledge can be applied. Using React and Angular as programs that are able to run TypeScript, you are able to make websites and are able to make apps for, as mentioned, iOS, Android, Windows, so on and so forth. So that's adding on to the scalability of where you can have these projects land. You can make an app and put it on the App Store, put it on Google App Store, make a website that people can access through Mac or Windows, things like that. So it doesn't just have to stay um, as one of your projects, is what I'm saying. And then, as I've been mentioning, the gist of the article explains that TS is adaptable and very easy to learn because it's just like JavaScript, which many beginning coders already know. It gives insight and reasons why coders should use it, especially as it continues to be integrated in the future and may be more popular than it is now. TypeScript is great for working on apps and is compatible with many different software. And then here is my works cited. This video was pretty long, but I appreciate you for watching. And all in all, this just explained why people who are in computer science or in the coding world should learn TypeScript, because it's very adaptable, it gets updated very frequently, it's very user friendly, helps with syntax errors and figuring out what's wrong, where's wrong, and how to fix it. And it's not too difficult to learn because it's just like JavaScript, and JavaScript is not only one of the more popular languages, which is very advocated for, but it's also one of the easier languages to learn. So if JavaScript is easy to learn, then TypeScript is easy to learn as well. And all those are things that companies take into consideration. It's another language to just have in your back pocket to put on your resume, which will look good on your resume, and more companies are more inclined to hire you knowing that you have a diversified background of coding languages or coding knowledge. And just all of these factors put into perspective on why TypeScript is important for web development and game development and just coding in general, and why you should learn TypeScript. So thank you for watching my video.